She stood alone on a cracked wooden platform, fierce and unflinching, a wildfire in human form. The blistering sun poured down on her bronze skin, making her shimmer like a mirage in the scorched, dust-choked air of that godforsaken border town. Sweat carved slow, deliberate trails along her neck and collarbone, vanishing beneath the scraps of fabric she wore. A dress more suggestion than substance, clinging to her curves like desperation itself. A torn strap slipped from her shoulder, revealing a tattoo. A thunderbird inked in black, its wings curling over her skin like a whisper of danger. Her hair, black as night, whipped around her face with every gust of dry wind, brushing her exposed flesh and framing her sharp, unreadable expression. Her eyes, dark, molten, and daring, locked onto the crowd with unflinching defiance. A promise in them, ruin to any fool who tried to claim her. I didn't come for this. I came to town for a horse, maybe a shot of whiskey to chase off the ache of the trail. But the moment her gaze caught mine, it was like being yanked to the edge of something wild and forbidden. I could feel it. My hands itched to trace that thunderbird, to feel the burn of her rebellion under my skin. And then I knew. I had seen that tattoo once before, 5 years ago when I was dying under the desert sun. A stranger gave me water, asked nothing in return. That man bore the same mark on his shoulder. Her father. The auctioneer's voice cut through the haze. $5, he barked. Laughter. Jeers. The crowd leaned in, their eyes crawling over her body like a sickness. Their hunger, a blade pressed against her pride. My blood boiled. 5, I said, stepping forward, my voice sharp, low. She looked at me again, and something in her eyes flickered. The crowd surged, spitting poison with every breath. But I didn't flinch. This wasn't just a purchase. This was a promise, an old debt, a vow etched in blood and sand. Coins clinked into the auctioneer's hand. Cold. Final. I thought I was buying her freedom. I was wrong. The man who held her ropes shoved her toward me. Her wrists were raw, her steps shaky, but she held her chin high. When her eyes met mine again, they weren't just defiant. They were searching. Maybe for trust. Maybe for something neither of us dared say out loud. She stumbled. Caught her. Our skin touched. Just a brush. But it was enough to send a jolt up my spine. I wanted to hold her, shield her. But not here. Not with so many eyes watching, tongues already wagging. Fool bought a curse. One man spat. Let them talk. I guided her down the steps. Her pace quick, her back straight despite the tremble in her limbs. That thunderbird tattoo shimmered under the sun. A secret just for me. We moved fast through the back alleys. Her dress snagged on jagged walls, exposing glimpses of thigh that made my breath catch. I forced my gaze ahead, toward the livery, toward my horse. Her footsteps echoed behind mine, light but hurried. She kept glancing back, like the crowd's hunger still haunted her. At the stables, I unhitched my horse, a steady bay named Grit. She stood silent, rubbing the red marks on her wrists. "What's your name?" I asked, voice low. "Tala," she said, quiet but clear. "I'm Jack." She studied me with those wildfire eyes. I felt it again, like standing too close to a flame. I offered her a hand to mount up. She hesitated, her fingers brushing mine, warm, deliberate. The heat of it nearly unraveled me. We rode out together, the city shrinking behind us, its filth and noise swallowed by the rising dust. As the hours passed and the sky bruised into dusk, we stopped at a dry creek bed. The stars blinked above, watching us in silence. I built a small fire. She sat across from me, knees drawn in, the torn dress falling from her shoulder again, exposing the smooth curve of it. Then she spoke. "My father told me about a man he saved once. Was that you?" I nodded. The memory hit hard. That man gave me water when I was half dead. He never even asked my name. She leaned closer, hair brushing her lips as her voice softened. "He was like that." I passed her a tin cup of water. Her fingers lingered on mine again, sparking something deep in my chest. Her gaze held mine, daring me to step closer. But then she pulled back. Her tone changed, hardened. He's dead. They took him. My sisters, Nika and Sana. They burned our village. I froze, the heat inside me turning cold. Who? I asked. Outlaws, she spat. 10, maybe 12. I know their leader's face. I'll never forget it. Her hands trembled around the cup. I saw it then, the pain behind her fury, the weight of everything she'd lost. They're at Devil's Cut, she added. A canyon west of here. That's where they take what they steal, women, horses, lives. I nodded, the plan already forming in my head. We ride at dawn. Hard. Tala looked at me. A faint curl touched her lips. Not quite a smile, but enough to tighten something deep inside me. You're not afraid, she said. Not yet, I answered. The fire cracked. Night stretched cold and endless around us. Tala curled into her blanket, her silhouette sharp in the firelight. The feather in her hair danced with the wind. I lay back, rifle close, the desert air bit at our skin. Tala moved like a storm, focused, steady. Her strange tribal dress cinched tight, the feather in her hair trembling with the chill. Her eyes scanned the desert like a hawk. We were going into hell, and I was ready to burn for her. The sun crested the horizon behind her, casting Tala's silhouette in gold, her waist sharp against the worn fabric of her dress. For just a breath of a moment, my resolve wavered. That same heat stirred again, the kind I had no business feeling. Not now. I shoved it down and swung into the saddle. Tala climbed up behind me, her hands gripping my waist, her warmth bleeding through my shirt like a slow fuse. It was a distraction I couldn't afford. Grit's hooves kicked up dust as we rode hard into the desert's merciless sprawl. Cacti stood like silent sentinels, boulders like old graves. Tala's voice guided us, low and steady. She pointed out hoofprints barely visible in the dry soil. A snapped branch, the gray smear of ashes from a fire long dead. This land was her story to read, not mine. I felt like a child in her shadow, clumsy next to her quiet mastery. By midday we found them, deep ruts in the earth. Fresh. Too many horses to count. Tala slid from Grit's back and knelt, fingers grazing the grooves in the dirt. Her hair fell forward, brushing her lips. She looked up, eyes locking on mine, fire smoldering in their depths. Her breath quickened as she rose, close enough that I could smell the sun-baked dust on her skin. They're careless, she murmured, voice husky. Overconfident. I wanted to reach out, brush the hair from her face, but her next words shattered the moment. They know I escaped. We can't stop. We pressed on. The heat bore down, the sun a hammer, the horizon a wavering mirage. Then, just as smoke drifted up in thin spirals, voices carried on the wind, slurred, cruel, thick with drink and darker things. Tala's fingers clutched my arm. Her nails grazed my skin, sending a bolt of fire through me. My sisters, she whispered, her voice cracking. I pulled her close, my hand on her shoulder. She burned against me, not with fear but purpose. We wait, I said, until they sleep. She met my gaze, fierce, unblinking, trusting. That trust weighed heavier than any gun I'd ever carried. We hid Grit behind a cluster of boulders and crept to the canyon's edge. My rifle was ready. Tala's knife glinted under the moonlight. Below, the outlaw camp sprawled, 3 wagons, half a dozen horses, at least 10 men. Their laughter was sharp as broken glass. And there, near the fire, were her sisters, Nika and Sana, bound, pale but unbroken, echoes of Tala's fire in their eyes. Then he stepped out, a tall, scarred man with a crooked grin. His pistol hung low as he barked orders, his eyes never soft. That's him, Tala hissed. The one who killed my father. I saw it then, the rage in her, the same fire that lived in my chest. It was time. Night fell like a curtain, thick and absolute. The outlaws drank, their words slurring until they collapsed, one by one. Only the scarred leader lingered, his gaze raking over the sisters like a vulture circling prey. Tala's grip tightened on her blade. Her chest rose and fell fast beneath the thin fabric. I caught her wrist, felt her pulse racing beneath my fingers. "Not yet," I whispered. She nodded, but her eyes never left her sister's. We moved, silent, swift, down a goat trail carved by time. The sentry at the edge of camp was half asleep, propped against his rifle. In one fluid motion, Tala slid up and slit his throat. He didn't even make a sound. She eased him down like it was nothing. Lethal, graceful, God help me, beautiful. We reached the sisters. Tala knelt, cutting the ropes with a whisper. Nika's eyes widened.
Sanans te fleda sob.
We were almost clear when a bottle slipped from someone's hand, clinking against stone. An outlaw stirred. His eyes met mine too late. My knife found his chest. But another one woke. Then another. Gunfire cracked through the night. Sparks flew from the rocks as bullets slammed all around us. Tala grabbed her sisters, pulling them behind her. Their skirts caught on stone. I turned, firing, dropping one man, then another. The scarred leader's voice thundered below, promising blood. We scrambled up the ridge, bullets whining, grit spraying. Nika and Sana clung to Tala, their breath ragged, dresses torn. I kept firing, rifle hot in my hands. Another outlaw lunged from the dark. Tala's knife found him before I could blink. She was fury incarnate. We reached the boulders. Grit waited, skittish but loyal. Tala threw Sana into the saddle, then Nika. Her movements were steady, precise. I mounted up and hauled Tala behind me. Her body pressed close, breath hot against my neck. I shoved down the distraction and kicked Grit hard. We thundered into the open desert, the shouts of the scarred leader fading behind us, but his promise echoed like thunder on the horizon. The moon hung high, casting silver light over the plains as we rode hard. The horses were slick with sweat. We didn't stop until their legs shook beneath them. At last, in a shallow wash, we dismounted. Nika and Sana collapsed into each other's arms, sobbing, alive. Tala stood apart. Her eyes locked on the black line of Devil's Cut. The feather in her hair shimmered in the moonlight. I stepped closer. "You kept your word," I said. She turned. Her expression, heat tore through me, raw and blinding. The moment thickened. Her breath caught. Her eyes searched mine, pulling me toward a line I'd held back from crossing. "Not yet," she whispered. "Not until he pays." Her hand fell. The air cracked between us, but the fire in her eyes burned hotter than ever. This was no longer escape. This was justice. Dawn spilled blood red across the sand. We hadn't slept. Our eyes stayed locked on the horizon. Dust rose in the distance. Hoofbeats. The hunt wasn't over. Tala tied her hair back, her knife catching the sun. The curve of her neck bared like a blade itself. A vision of vengeance. "They'll follow the canyon trail," she said. "They think we're running." I checked my rifle, every cartridge loaded with prayer. "We're not," I said. A flicker passed her lips, almost a smile. "We end this." We rode south toward Death's Hollow, a narrow cut in the land, the perfect place to spring a trap. We hid Nika and Sana in a cave above the trail. Fear lived in their eyes, but so did faith. I took position on a ledge above the pass, rifle at the ready. Below me, Tala crouched in the brush, setting her traps. Stones to trip horses, snares hidden in dust. It wasn't over, but it was about to be. Tala moved quickly, scattering branches to slow their advance. Her dress snagged on jagged rocks, revealing flashes of skin I tried hard not to see. The sound of pounding hooves grew louder. Shouted curses rode the wind. I could already hear the scarred leader's cruel sneer even from a distance. 10, maybe 12 riders bore down on us, guns drawn, unaware of the trap we'd laid. I inhaled steady, raised my rifle and took aim. The first shot dropped the leader. His horse screamed, rearing violently as he pitched forward. Limp. Chaos erupted. Right, I fired again, another man fell. Below, Tala burst from her hiding spot. Her knife flashed, slashing through the first outlaw to hit the ground. He collapsed into the dust, blood soaking the earth. The outlaws surged up the slope, but they weren't ready. Tala's trap triggered. Rocks tumbled. Men slipped and tumbled, shouting in panic. I kept firing, each round a thunderous beat in the canyon. Every body we dropped bought us precious seconds. One outlaw got too close. He raised his pistol, aiming for me. But Tala caught him from behind, dragging him down, her blade buried deep in his ribs. Two more broke ranks and fled, abandoning their horses. I dropped one where he stood. The other vanished into the rocks, like a snake slipping into shadow. Then came the silence, thick, choking, heavy with dust and smoke. I climbed down, chest heaving, finding Tala standing in the center of Death's Hollow. Her hair was wild. Her blade dripped red. Her dress clung to her chest with sweat and dust. She looked like a war goddess, fierce, unbroken, and terrifyingly beautiful. The last outlaw crawled from behind a boulder, clutching a bleeding leg. His eyes bulged when Tala approached, slow and sure. "You killed my father," she said, her voice cold as iron. He opened his mouth too slow. Her knife flashed. He fell still. She wiped the blade clean on her skirt, turned to me and said, "Now it's done. We gathered what we could. Ammunition, canteens, whatever the dead had left worth taking. We let their horses run free. Let the desert have the rest." Nika and Sanaa emerged, rushing to Tala, clinging to her. Their voices broke in hushed reverence. She held them both, her arms wrapped around them like a shield that had finally held strong. We mounted up. The weight of battle lifted, if only for a breath. The desert stretched ahead of us, silver beneath the moonlight. Stars spilled across the sky in waves as we rode north, Death's Hollow shrinking behind us like a wound healing slowly. Tala rode between her sisters, their hands clinging to her. Exhaustion painted their faces, but there was something else there now. Hope. I kept pace beside them, my body aching, but my chest burning with something fierce and quiet. Not pain, purpose. The land softened as we neared the mountains. The desert gave way to grass. The air turned cooler, lusher. By dawn, the valley opened wide before us. Smoke rising from small huts, a glinting river winding through it like a ribbon of promise. We stopped at the ridge. The sisters stared, eyes wide, drinking in the sight of home. Tala's feather trembled in the breeze. Her jaw clenched, but her eyes shimmered. "This is it," she whispered. I dismounted, helping them down one by one. My hands were steady, but my heart wasn't. The village stirred. Children ran. Women paused, baskets in hand. Men with spears stepped from tents. Their voices quieted as they saw us. And then, when they recognized who we were, when they saw Tala, Nika, and Sanaa, a ripple of joy broke through the hush. Tears fell, soft, sudden, like rain after a long drought. An elder stepped forward, tall, regal. White feathers marked his shoulders. His eyes passed over the sisters, then landed on me. Unreadable. Tala stepped up. Her voice was calm, steady. "They're safe," she said. "The men who took them are gone." The elder nodded. He spoke in words I didn't understand. Tala translated softly. "The debt is paid." Villagers surrounded the sisters, touching their faces, whispering prayers, murmurs of welcome and thanks. Tala stood at the center, upright, strong. But then she turned to me. "You'll go now," she said. Not a question. I looked at her, really looked. Her proud stance, the shadows under her eyes, the hope in them she tried not to show. "You'll be all right?" I asked. She nodded, glancing at her sisters. "I've got them now." I tipped my hat, turned to go, but her voice stopped me. "Jack." I turned back. Her eyes locked with mine, steady, soft, grateful. "Thank you." I gave a small nod, nothing more. I had no words left that could carry the weight between us. I rode out alone. The desert opened before me again, vast, endless, but not empty. From the ridge I glanced back once more. The three sisters stood at the edge of their village, their silhouettes etched sharp against the light of a rising sun. I raised a hand in farewell. They didn't wave, but I felt it all the same. The weight I'd carried for so long lifted, light as the feather in Tala's hair. Some debts are worth every drop of blood. Like what you're hearing. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe